Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of the RA Group Daily Webcast. Every weekday at 3:30 we host a daily webcast where our panel of experts discuss a wide range of topics to help you to survive and thrive during the lockdown. This week we will be discussing how to keep active during lockdown with Luxi Dianadan, happiness techniques with Natasha Whitehead, and what is wine with Leona Di Pasquale. Today, however, our Culinary Director David Simms will be demonstrating how to make pizza at home. Please feel free to ask any questions throughout the broadcast, as we would love to keep this as interactive as possible. Now over to David.
Good afternoon everyone, hope you're all good. So today I'm going to talk you through the processes of making sourdough pizzas. So we'll start off with the dough, then I'll go through the sauce, how to roll it, how to build it and how to cook it, and then hopefully eat one at the end of it. So that's it really. Okay, so we'll start with the dough. The dough is really important. You make it the day before. You want it to prove nice and slowly in the fridge. Helps nurture the dough slightly and improves the flavour much better. Now, because I had to make this yesterday, I've done a short video which I'm now going to share you and talk you through the process. Run VT, Gav. Okay guys, I'm not sure if you're getting the sound there or not, but so what we've started off doing there is I've added 600 mils of water, tepid water around 22 to 23 degrees. Then I've got 200 grams of sourdough starter going in there, so that's nicely ripened and fully loaded, ready to go, nice full, as you can see it's floating in the water, so nice and active. So that's 200 grams of starter going in. And then I'm going to add 1 kilo of 00 pizza flour, Caputa flour I've used for this one. Again, it has been quite difficult to get flour at the moment, but you can get Caputa flour through Amazon on next day delivery. Also, there's some companies like Gilchester's and Chips and Mill who are both providing flours via mail order. The last thing I'm adding there is 20 grams of sea salt. Then I'm going to mix it on the machine. Very importantly, when you start the machine, you turn on very slowly, otherwise you get covered in flour, which isn't a good look, and obviously makes a mess in your kitchen. So very slowly start it off, and then you need to knead that for anywhere between 7 to 10 minutes, okay, hence the video. So that's just going to spin through quite quickly now. And then when it's ready, you'll see it's really changed textures. You can start to see there, it goes really glossy and really sticky. It's a very wet dough, but that just helps you have a really bubbly, light pizza. So once you take it out of the bowl, see how sticky it is there? It's going to come back to me now, and I'm going to show you the shape of the dough. Okay, so obviously the dough is being made yesterday. I'm just going to scrape it out of the bowl. Now the recipe I've given you will make 6 12-inch pizzas, so I've only made a small amount for this demonstration. So I'm just going to, this is enough for 2, so I'm just going to cut it in half. Okay, just with a dough scraper. So the important part here is you get nice surface tension. So when it proves, it gives you a nice structure. So again, your dough will rise nice and evenly. So just roll it over, and just with your hands, tucking it round and under. Round and under, round and under. So you get a nice, neat ball. Then I've got a ceramic dish, which I've just oiled with extra virgin olive oil. Just set that in nicely. Again, the second ball is going to come over. Tuck it in, really looking for that nice tight surface tension. Just helps hold its shape as it's proving. Again, into the dish. As you can see there, a little bit of space around them. Now I'm going to cling film that really tightly. Just leave it to prove to 4 to 6 hours on the side. Okay, whilst your dough's proving, I normally make the sauce. The sauce is super simple and super tasty. So I haven't got a blender at home, so I'm just going to use the rice NutriBullet again, just does the same job. So the sauce, this will make enough sauce for the 6 pizzas. So it's 1 jar, or 1 tin, sorry, of chopped plum tomatoes. Go straight into the blender. One clove of peeled garlic, pinch of salt, a couple of basil leaves, pinch of dried oregano, and then a good glug of extra virgin olive oil.
David, we have a few questions from people writing in. Hannah says, do you have a dough recipe that doesn't require a starter or isn't sourdough? And how long would that take? Okay,
so the recipe, I've given you an alternative to the sourdough starter. It's using dried yeast. So again, for the recipe, I've used 200 grams of sourdough starter. You'd use, I think it's 11 or 12 grams of dried yeast, which is on the recipe. You use the same process, make it the day before, let it retard in the fridge overnight, and still gives you proof and gives you much more depth of flavour in your crust. So that's all gone into my blender. So I'm just going to throw that on the Nutribullet. Technical issue. Just really quickly.
I always have that problem with my Nutribullet.
You can tell I don't use it that often, right? Okay, so as you can see, it's really blended, it's really smooth quite quickly. Let's go have a quick taste. Make sure it's all right. That's delicious. Okay, so now we're going to roll in the dough.
David, we've got some more questions if that's okay. Lucy asked, how do you make a starter dough, or where could I get one?
Okay, so the starter is really, really simple. It takes 7 days to make, but all it is flour and water and a jar. So you start off with, I normally do a mix of rye flour and strong flour. Say, for example, it's 50 grams of each. And then you add 100 mils of water. So the combined weight of 2 flours with water. So you mix it till all the dry particles are gone. Leave it in a jar, somewhere around 22 to 23 degrees, with a loose fitting lid on it. And then every morning for 7 days, you discard 90% of what's there. And then again, add 50 grams of each flour and 100 mils of water. Do that for 7 days. And as you saw in the video, it's really puffed up and aerated. That's how you'll see it develop over the 7 days. And then basically you can continue that same process continuously every day, and you've got a starter will just get better and better as time goes on. If you only want to feed it once a week, you can do that. You can just store it in the fridge and feed it once a week. So make it, store it in the fridge, 7 days, take it out again, discard 90%, add your flour and water, put it back in the fridge. So you've always got a starter sitting in your fridge, which I do with myself. I'm also going to do a sourdough masterclass, which I'll go through the starter in more detail. Okay, so I've got my dough that's been proving. As you can see, it stretches out quite well, it's risen up quite nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dust the work surface.
David, Brian asked, is there an effective way you can knead the dough without a machine?
Yeah, it's quite a wet dough, so you can do it by hand, but it's quite tricky because it's quite a wet dough. You know, unless you're used to kneading wet doughs, you're going to make quite a bit of a mess. But it is possible. If you Google a slap and fold method, sounds wrong, doesn't it? Slap and fold, but it's more about when you're literally slapping the dough onto the counter, picking up, and it strengthens the gluten very actively, but without having to knead it with your hands so much. But there's a technique called slap and fold which you can Google, which will show you that. But I would suggest using a machine if you've got one. Again, so just taken off, as you see it come out quite nicely. So I'm cooking my pizza on a pizza stone in the oven. Okay, so it's been preheating for about an hour, so it's 275 degrees. You want to get it as hot as you can get it, and the shelf's in the middle of the oven. You can use a flat cast iron tray or a cruise pan, anything that can sustain and keep the hot heat really nicely. So I'm going to go straight onto the pizza stone. I'm going to start rolling it out just on the table slightly, and then I'm going to transfer it onto some greaseproof paper so it goes onto the stone quite easily. Again, you can see I'm just pushing from the middle out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try and get all that air from the proof, not expel it, but push it to the side of the rim of the bread or the dough. Okay, and then you just like twisting it. Same process. So I've got to about a 6-inch circle there. So all we'll do now is get some greaseproof paper. Transfer it onto a greaseproof paper, just so it gets easier. And again, do the same technique, stretching. So I've got a nice bubbled edge. Then you get a super puffed up crust. Obviously you can use a rolling pin if you want, but you just won't get that same developed crust as you would by doing this method. Okay, so I get a pizza panel, just slide on top.
Where did you get your pizza panel from, David?
Amazon. It's a great place. The Shop of Kings. It's like £10. Folds the handle so it takes up less space in your cupboard, so it's super good. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a ladle. Okay, so as you can see, the dough is about 12 inches wide. It's got a nice developed crust. Now we go on with the sauce. Again, the sauce you can make, if you want to make batches of it and then freeze it, is absolutely fine. So then with the back of the ladle, just do circular motions, spread the sauce out to the crust. You want to leave about 3/4 of an inch from the edges. Just gives you the dough some time to develop and puff up in the oven. Nice and even. There we go. Okay, then toppings. Literally, you can do anything on a pizza. Okay, so I'm using up stuff from my fridge. The only thing I wouldn't put on a pizza though is ham and pineapple. That's a bit criminal, I think. But you know, you literally use anything. So I've got, I don't know if you can see that there, a selection of charcuterie from Canon. I've got some mozzarella. Cow mozzarella is better than buffalo. It melts and goes stringy, whereas buffalo mozzarella doesn't melt so much. I've got some olives, I've got some artichokes, some lily capers and some goat cheese. So I'm just going to freestyle this. I'm just going to put some mozzarella on it. A good trick with the mozzarella is when you cut it, drain it on a tea towel or a cloth for 10 or 15 minutes. Just takes the excess water out of the mozzarella. Otherwise, the water's going to go straight onto your pizza, and you'll have a soggy bottom. Nobody likes a soggy bottom. So I've now got some chorizo, some sliced chorizo, 3 slices of that. I've got some salsiccione, some nice salami, so a couple of slices of that. And I'm going to put some artichokes on. These are just violet artichoke hearts, again randomly plotted.
David, we are having a lot of people asking about the pineapple and ham situation.
Of course, you can put pineapple and ham on the pizza if you really want to. Just not my my cup of tea.
Just not your pizza.
Not my pizza. You're more like happy to do that. Okay, so that's the pizza. If we just tip up for you to see, without it sliding off. Okay, so as I said, this is going to go into a preheated oven. 275 degrees my oven goes up to. I've got the pizza stone midway in the oven. It's been on for about an hour, heating up really nice and hot. It takes about 6 or 7 minutes to cook. So I've got a little time lapse of a pizza I did earlier. So Gavin, if you just run VT for me.
David, how important is it to be quick when you're loading the oven?
Say again?
How important is it to be quick when you're loading the oven?
Oh, very, very important. You just need to keep the heat in as much as you can.
David, we've got some more questions. Sean says, can you use a kiwi?
Absolutely. Sean loves a kiwi, so you can literally put anything on. You actually can do sweet pizzas. To be honest, banana and chocolate is a great one. Strawberries and basil, it's not a really good sweet pizza. Instead of tomato sauce, just put some butter, some demerara sugar. Dock the pizza base with a fork, so that means put little holes in it so it doesn't puff up too much. And then put it in the oven, caramelise it really nice and sweet and sticky, and then you can take it out and top up your fresh fruit, etc. All good.
In your opinion, what is the daddy of all combinations?
Oh, for me, kind of goat's cheese, andouja, basil, really simple, super spicy. But yeah, really nice and tasty. But again, pizzas are great to use up stuff in your fridge. As I say, I've got some stuff there which is great for using up. Obviously the family's got pizzas for dinner tonight. And I've got a few more pizza balls ready to make. But yeah, so it's quite simple. So I've got a pizza in true blue pizza fashion, just warming up in the oven. So I'm just going to get some fresh basil leaves.
We do have some more questions, David. Julia says, if I can't get any yeast, is there anything I could use instead?
Again, you make your sourdough starter. Again, flour and water, super simple, takes 7 days, but you can get, if you can't get fresh yeast, you can obviously use a dry activated yeast as well. If not, all fair in that, make your own sourdough starter. Okay, so I've got some basil there, I've got some extra virgin olive oil, and I'm just going to sprinkle a few capers on when it comes out of the oven, just so it's super nice and tasty. Just going to have a look where it is.
Nico asks, how on earth do you keep your oven so clean?
It's a self-cleaning oven. It's fantastic. Put it on once a week, self-cleaning cycle, job done. Wipe it out with a damp cloth.
Steph asks, can you deliver?
Not quite worked out the logistics for that one yet, but I'll have a go. About another 30 seconds on that pizza, guys. So if there's any more questions.
Yes, Daniel says, I'm not sure who's said this correctly. What is the difference in the process of making lamokun? I may have said that incorrectly.
Ben?
How do you say lamokun?
I think that's lahmacun.
Lahmacun, there you go.
I'm going to be brutally honest, guys. I've got no idea what that is.
Is that the one where we come back to you, Daniel?
Sorry, guys. Can't help on that one.
And then also, what was the oven temperature again?
275 degrees centigrade.
And then in your sourdough starter, is it fresh or dry yeast?
There's no yeast at all. So basically, there's yeast, naturally, bacteria floating around in the air, there's yeast particles floating around in the air. Flour obviously is milled, so again, it's got natural bacteria going through the flours. So simply adding water and temperature, so 21 to 24 degrees, it's prime time for that bacteria to start growing and develop. Same as any other bacteria, really. So it just causes yeast and it becomes active and it just grows itself. Super simple.
Daniel's got back in touch and he says Turkish flatbread.
Turkish flatbreads. Yes. So that's got no yeast in the dough. It's just got flour and water. There's two types, flour and water, which you roll out, or there's one you use natural yogurt and self-raising flour. In the puffs up the same. But there's no activated starter in those. Okay.
Sonia has got in touch and says, when the world gets back to normal, where's your favourite place to eat out for pizza?
Oh, good question. I I like either home slice or pizza pilgrims. Both do a great pizza for me. Super simple. Okay, so the pizza just come out of the oven. Fresh basil on top, just kind of roughly chopped. A few capers. Adds a bit of acidity and salt. Then I'm just going to do some extra virgin olive oil. Slide her off. Actually, I should come and show you what a peach looks like.
Oh, gorgeous.
There you go, guys.
Very tasty.
You get pizza oil. Yeah, crust, and if you can. This is the true test. Oh, pick it up.
Is this when your family come rushing into the kitchen?
Unfortunately not. They've left me for the afternoon, gone for a walk. So that's it, guys. I'm going to let that cool down slightly before I burn my mouth. Please, if you've got any more questions, let me know.
We have plenty of questions. So Bryony asks, does the starter work the same if you're using gluten-free flour?
The starter works the same, but you won't get the same structure in your bread. Obviously, the way it works is the gluten stretches and traps the air bubbles inside, and you need gluten to do that. Now, you can use rice flour, you just won't get such an airy dough. So it'll be a tighter crumb, almost like a biscuit style crumb, much tighter, like a Hogarth's bread, not nice and bubbly and airy, so you won't get the puffed up crust like you have on there. But it's nice colour on the base. So yes, you can, but you just won't get the same structure.
Lovely. Nico's back in touch again, and she said, what if you don't have an oven that goes that high? Mine only reaches 240 centigrade.
That's fine. It will just take a little bit longer to cook.
We have another one. Do you prefer red or blue Caputa flour for your pizza base?
Oh, good question. I prefer red.
Ben, do you have any thoughts on that? I think you're on.
No, we're also buying the red Caputo flour for our pizzas at work. So yeah, red's best.
I mean, it's different flours. I mean, if you buy flours, 00 any flour, if you look on the back and look at the protein, it's all about the protein in the flour. Okay, that's what gives you the structure. So the higher level of protein, the higher percentage, the stronger it's going to be. So more gluten, so that'll give you a bigger air pockets, you know, more gelatinous, glutinous structure in your dough. So plain flour is normally around 7-8%. Strong flour is anywhere between 12 and 16%.
Daniel writes in and says, turning a pizza into calzone, is it just as simple as folding it in half and sealing it?
Absolutely. Where I rolled it out last time, again, fold it over and then just crimp the edges. It's really nice. You get a crescent shape. Obviously, the crimping then traps in the steam as it cooks. Then it puffs inside the oven and gives you that lovely domed effect. And as you cut open, the smell from a calzone is amazing.
Phil says, nice work, chef. That looks great. And Hannah has wrote in saying, should I sift my flour?
00, you shouldn't really have to, because 00 is really fine. It's super fine, and it's been milled, professional mills. You don't need to sift that flour, much flour anymore. But unless you get a heritage grain flour, which has been stone ground, but normal milled flours these days, especially 00, which is super fine, you should be okay. But likewise, if you realise it is slightly lumpy, absolutely put it through a sieve, and it just adds more air back to the flour anyway. But yes, you can.
Wonderful. We don't have any more questions coming through at the moment. Ben, do you have anything left to say?
No, I think that was a great demo. It looks like a delicious pizza.
Can't wait to get stuck in.
I can't wait for my dinner invite.
I can see everything hot now. Apologies, I've got to go.
All right, well, in that case, thank you very much, David, for a fantastic demonstration. Our next webcast will be tomorrow at 3:30 with Luxie Dianadan discussing how to keep active during lockdown. For more information about our program of discussions, please go to RA Group's website at www.ragroup.com. ragup.co.uk/news to download the broadcast links and recipes. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or suggestions about how you can get involved, then please email Gavin Goody at gavin.goody@ragroup.co.uk. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Goodbye.